Hello and welcome to the studio where we paint away the stress of everyday life, and thank you to all my wonderful subscribers out there worldwide. And I say that from Australia all the way to America and all the countries in between and around each side. Thank you very much for supporting me on this channel. So today I was been given a challenge to do a painting with one of these plastic cards. Now I'm going to give it a try. I don't know how successful I'm going to be, but hey, this is Clive 5 Art. Let's have a bit of fun. Let's have a look at the colours that I got on a palette, and let's get started.
Time to learn with our friend Clive. So grab your brush, have a great time. And don't forget to click subscribe.
So as I said, I'm going to be using a plastic card. I've picked up, this is just a little 20 centimetre by 20 centimetre canvas that I've had lying around. It's been there for months and months and months. It's had a ground on it. And I thought, well, let's just give it a try. Let's see what we can utilise that with. I'm using my mixing board today because I got a good mind to mix a little bit of thick paint. I'm just putting that down one side. And as I do that, let's have a look at the colours. I got a bit of Mars black and some burnt umber. I got some titanium white, cerulean blue. I got a little bit of cadmium red and a little bit of mid yellow. And I am going to be using some of my paint thickener today. That's going to be available on the website. Also, I'm going to be using maybe a little bit of medium mix as well. And that's also available on the website at www.clive5art.co.uk. Pop along to the shop and get some of that. That helps the underbinding and paint. Anyway, without further ado, let's get on to this painting. Yes, so what a challenge we've got today. Okay, so I've got a little bit of paint that I've got to put on this sky. Now, how am I going to do this? Well, I'm going to get my board there. I'm going to be mixing a little bit of paint on my board. You can't see that, but I've got it on my lap at the moment. Let me just show you. I've got the board on my lap there, so I'm going to be mixing a little bit of paint on there. So that's the most important thing. So if you hear me scraping, because you can't see it, and it's a bit boring anyway. So the first thing I'm going to do is get myself a bit of kitchen paper, kitchen roll. There you are, get a bit of that. I'm just going to moisten down the surface of my board, because it's quite an old board. It's all full of dust and things like that. So I thought it might be a good idea just to wet that down, get it damp, and just get a little bit of dust off it as well at the same time, because we don't want to spoil our artwork. Just chucking that down over there like that. Okay, so I'm going to mix a little bit of thick paint, and shall I mix it? Yes, I think I'm going to make my paint start a little bit thicker, so I'm going to get some of my paint thickener. There you go. Let's get some paint thickener. I need a palette knife for this. Where's my palette knife? There it is. Got my palette knife. You can buy this stuff in 30mm tubes if you're interested. That's available again on the website, as I said. So I want a bit of blue. I want a bit of blue there. I'm going to get a little bit of this just to thicken the paint up like that. Maybe that's a little bit thick. There you go. Just get a bit of that. Plump that on the sky like this, because we don't want a lot of sky. I'm going to get a bit of white. Plump that in as well. This is unthickened. There we are. I'm using a palette knife just to put it on, but we did say the challenge was to do a painting with this, so I might have to use a brush at some point, but at the moment let's just get the sky in place. Bit of moisture. It just gives that different type of effect, really. Let's get a little bit more of that blue. Not easy. This is not easy at all. Maybe I should have I can't get the smoothness. I should have used a different canvas, in fact. It doesn't matter. So what we're going to do, we got a blending brush. I got an old, very old mop brush there. What I'm going to do is just smooth that in place like this. Haha, and there we go. We've solved that issue. I'm going to get a little bit of black into that blue. I want to darken this maybe up a little bit there, like that. Maybe darken that up. I got a mind to do some mountains or something. So we've got a bit of colour in that top sky there, like that. I don't think I cleaned this brush very well when I used it last, so you've got to be careful when you do that, because you always make sure you clean your brushes well. I want to put a bit of dark there. So maybe cheating a little bit. If I was just using a board, then this would be definitely a lot easier to manipulate. Okay, so let me just wipe off my credit card. This is an old credit card, by the way, so if you've seen the numbers on it, don't worry. It's quite a few years old now. Let's get my hairdryer on, because this is a major part of this, is we're going to have to dry this really well in between each coat. Not as dry as I would like it, but it is okay, I think. Yeah, I think I'll just mix this paint on my palette, I'll be honest with you. So I'm going to get some burnt umber, a little bit of black into that. I want a bit of this cerulean blue in there as well. I want to make it a cool brown, dark colour. I'm going to use a little bit of this paint thickener. The reason I'm thickening the paint is because I want this card to act like a palette knife if I can get it to act like a palette knife. And I want that thick, nice, ridger look on it as well. There you go. Let's get a bit of this. Let's get a bit more paint on that edge. Bringing that down then, like that. Yeah, it is a bit of fun actually. This is quite a challenge. I think we're going to get a little bit of white now, with a touch of yellow in it. Maybe just a touch of red into that, I think. I want to give it that warm type of look. I don't want a cold snow. I want quite a warm type of snow. It's got a bit of warmth to it. A little bit of my paint thickener again. I'm just going to get my medium mix into my pot. Don't forget to put that back in the pot. If you haven't contaminated with colour, Don't forget you can put that back in the pot. So I just added a little bit of that to my mix. So if you've made this a bit thick, if you bought my thickening paste, which is for sale at www.clive5art.co.uk, you made it a bit thick, then you can thin it with a bit of my medium mix. That way it's not going to be ruined, and you can use it on, you can thin it down and you can keep that, put that in a little container or something like that and keep that colour. Of course you can. We need to get a little bit of that now, because what I want to do is just very lightly pull in a bit of that across the mountain like this. There's a bit of plastic card. You don't need palette knives. Use what you've got at home. There you go. Let's go into a little bit of white now. A little bit of white. Maybe just catching a little bit of light here and there like that. Play with that, just mix it in a little bit, look. Get some white. And let's just put some misty type of look on the bottom. That. I quite like. So let's add a little bit more white. I think I'll give up brushes. Don't need to worry when you're having fun. That's the key here. It really is. Okay, we're going to mix some more burnt umber into this dark colour. I want this quite dark, this bit. I want this quite dark, this bit. I am going to use a brush in a minute. There you go. It's just a bit of fun today. We're just having some fun. I better put my blending brush in my water, because if I don't, it's going to go dry on me. I need to clean that after, actually. Okay, so let's put a mountain stick in his head out of this corner there like this, and he's coming down. He's a big mountain, yes. He's a daddy mountain, and he's coming down there like that. Coming down. Picking up a bit of white. Mixing that in like that. Have fun. Have fun. Let's get some black. Quite thick paint this. I tell you what, let's have a bit of fun. Let's have a bit more fun. Let's put a bit more brown over there. Let's get some of this cerulean blue into that, and let's get a bit of black into that. I'm just going to cool this down a bit. I want this a cooler brown. That's Molly barking because she's sitting in the other part of the studio. I don't know what that is out there. Some sort of noise out in the garden. Let's put another mountain. Now you can practice painting mountains with a brush. Why did you practice painting mountains with a palette knife or anything like that? Just practice, and all I'm trying to do here today is just to get you to play with paint, and I love playing with paint, because when you play with paint, what tends to happen is you start to learn a lot quicker than worrying about. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put Molly out the second. Oh, I could put Molly out the back. You can still hear her barking. Sometimes wish I was living in a field somewhere, because I just love neighbours. When you're trying to film and they start shouting and bawling and cutting grass and using strimmers, and it really does get to me. And I sometimes wish I was lived in a field. Okay, so let's get some burnt umber over there, and I'm going to put a bit of white to it this time. I just want to lighten this colour now. Just want to lighten this colour just a little bit like this. I still want to keep it dark. I still want to keep it a bit dark. But then I also need to bring this one in the middle of there now and bring that down. And hopefully, if I've done this right, you should see that against the white there. There's always a little bit of mist, and that's just going to merge in to that area there. And it's just going to be one big basic mountain. There we are. Oh, I do love my neighbours. I really do. Let's get some of this yellow type of colour now. There's a bit of green going on into this mountain there, like that. Maybe a few flecks here and there. Like that. Bring that up. Let's get more of this brown. That's going to go up like that. I do apologise for the nasty neighbours today, but life is not easy sometimes. It's like painting. It's just not easy sometimes. We just got to go with the flow and hope we can do what we foresee that we're trying to see. We might have an image in our minds that of certain things. Let's just get some black now. I don't want to put too much black onto this thing. You can see it's quite full of paint. There you go. And I am using this. And I'm quite enjoying this today, because it just makes a hard subject very easy, and you can manipulate this with a brush, palette knife. You could see that it's not so much about what you use, it's about the techniques and not being afraid to just to have a go. Because when you're doing little paintings like this, at the end of the day, it's just really you painting. And you know, if you want to sell a painting, that's great. Go and do it. But really speaking, majority of people just want to paint to relax, and I'm one of those people. I just like to paint to relax. I do have commissions and things to do, but at the end of the day, let's put a little bit of snow. Let's put a little bit of snow on this mountain. Now let me just need to clean my card. I'm going to be careful because sometimes your card can go a little bit muddy, especially when mixing all different types of paint together. I just want to put a bit of snow just here and there like this. Wonderful, wonderful mountains. Now I did say we were going to use a brush, so let's find a brush. Let's find a brush. A little bit of black paint. Got my stick. I'm going to put a little mark like that. I'm going to bring it down. Like that. Let's get a bit of this yellowy type of whitey type of colour. Let's just get a bit more white on that actually. Put in some highlights here. Might not see him. Let's put some red in. There's a bloke. Standing there. I don't know if you could see it. It's quite dark. It's quite dark against a dark background, so you may not be able to see him so much. But we know he's there, and it's all that counts. If you don't want to put him in, don't put him in. I wish I hadn't put him in now, to be honest. He's trying to paint dark against the background. And it's not going to work. So as a model art story is, don't paint dark figures on the dark backgrounds, because you're not going to see them. And I didn't think of that because I was talking too much as normal. But it doesn't matter. You know he's there. And he's there and he's blending in. He's got camouflage on. You can't see him. It doesn't really matter. Let's put a little bird in the sky flying around. There's a couple of eagles. Oops, it's a big eagle. A couple of little eagles. Just have fun. Enjoy. These paintings and lessons are all about experimenting with paint. Give it a try, see what you think. Thank you very much for the challenge of the credit card. I appreciate that very much. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye.